Hey, it's Galfi and Galfette. In this video, we invite you to explore the Cubase interface. It may seem complex at first, but it's also highly customizable. I'll show you how. The interface is made up of 6 zones. The menu at the very top, the header below the menu, the left zone, the project zone in the center, the right zone, and the bottom zone. We're going to look at all these elements in detail, but of course, we've planned even more detailed videos for later. The main menu. It contains the following menus. File allows you to start a new project, save it, export a project, and call up a recent project. Edit contains numerous functions, some with shortcuts, as well as access to preferences and key commands customization. Project contains a number of project-related actions. There are options to make your life easier, such as the horizontal divider, and I'll tell you more about that later. Audio contains actions specific to audio events. MIDI contains actions specific to MIDI events. Scores, Cubase Pro only, for everything to do with scores. Media allows you to act on project files, but also to access the media pool, which contains all audio files linked to the project. MIDI files are encoded directly in the project file, but can be exported or converted to audio. I'll tell you more about that in a future video. Transport contains actions relating to navigation and recording in the project. Studio allows you to manage connected devices and VSTI. Here, for example, you can add a master keyboard or manage your plugins. Workspaces lets you define different display configurations to suit your needs, for example, for creation and for mixing. Window allows you to manage different windows in projects if you have several open at the same time. VST Cloud gives you access to the VST Transit, which lets you collaborate with other Cubase users via the cloud to create joint projects. The Hub is simply the window that appears when you open Cubase or start a new project. And finally, the classic Help menu. Let's take a look at the Hub. The Hub is divided into several parts. At the top, a simplified menu, similar to the menu I've just told you about. On the left, you have the latest news about Cubase in Steinberg, deals, learn Cubase through tutorials, user manuals, the forum, and access to support. On the right, you'll find, at the bottom, project location settings, for example, where to save your projects. At the top, a list of recent projects and several templates. Recording, scores, production, mastering, and your own templates in the More tab. Now the header. It is made up of 3 horizontal zones: toolbar, the status bar, and the info bar. All these elements are customizable. On Cubase 13, a simple right-click opens a menu allowing you to choose what to display. For Cubase 12, you have a small button with a gear that allows you to display 3 menus. The toolbar features numerous modules. I won't go into detail about all of them, as some handle advanced functions, but we'll talk about the most essential elements in my opinion. You'll find undo and redo buttons, locators positions. The locators are those little white triangles that let you draw a zone on a project for exporting or looping. They also have many other possibilities, which I'll tell you about in another video. Classic tools, such as selection, scissors, glue, zoom. You have your color palette, snapping options, and window display. Here too, you can customize the display via this button. This is where you can choose to display the left, right, and bottom zones. In Cubase 13, you also have a second left-hand zone, about which I'll tell you a little bit later. The status bar gives you general information about your project. The info bar appears when you select a track or event and lets you access to some other functionalities. The project window. This is where you place your audio and MIDI tracks and events. Each track contains various options and possibilities. Here you can see the scroll bars and the zoom bars. There's also several ways to zoom in and out. We'll tell you more in another video. To add a new track, you have several options. Drag and drop an audio or MIDI file. Click on the Add Track button at the top. If you don't see the type of track you want, click on More Tracks to display the full list of tracks. Right-click on the clear area and select the desired track type. The colored pieces you see on the tracks are called events and are portions of audio or MIDI files. As I mentioned earlier in this video, I recommend that you activate the horizontal divider. You can activate it via the Project menu or directly in the project window. This divider separates audio, MIDI, instrument, group, and effect tracks on the one hand, and what I call utility tracks on the others, markers, tempo, arranger, etc. The left windows. There are two windows. The leftmost one, available since Cubase 13 only, displays a track tab, which is actually the mixer slice that corresponds to the track. I'll tell you more about the mixing console later in this video. The second area on the left is separated into two parts, the inspector and visibility. The inspector has several options. When a track is selected, it displays track information and options. When an editor is open, it displays the options of that editor, whether audio or MIDI. Visibility simply allows you to hide tracks or folders. For example, tracks grouped together in a folder with a single click. The right window has 4 tabs in the Pro version. VSTI allows you to access the list of VSTI used on the project and customize them, as well as adding an instrument track via the Add button. You also have a search engine, very useful when you have a lot of VSTI tracks on a project. Media offers a list of the different types of media you can use, as well as presets and a search engine. The control room allows Cubase to function as an analog mixing console, with routing to monitors for mixing and mastering. I'll tell you more about routing in a future video. Meter displays the master meter or the loudness meter. The bottom window also features several tabs, each with a specific purpose and options. Mix Console opens the mixing console. It features a dedicated menu and buttons to show or hide faders and insert or send effects. You can also open the console in a new window by pressing the F3 key on your keyboard. Editor gives you access to 4 types of editor. Audio, if the selected event is audio. MIDI, if the selected event is MIDI. Scores, and drums. Sample Control opens the sample editor. For it to be active, you must first open a sampler track, which you can do in several ways. By dragging and dropping a MIDI or audio event into the window, from your hard disk or from one of your project's tracks, or from the medias, loops and samples in the right window, by right-clicking on a sample and selecting Open Sampler Track. MIDI Remote gives you access to the MIDI Controller Assistant, which lets you control Cubase functions from a device, such as a master keyboard or a set of pads. Chords Pads give you access to pads that let you play the chords of your choice without touching the keyboard. The transport menu at the very bottom is dedicated to controlling playback, recording, tempo, and metronome. And here too, you can customize it in the same way as the other windows. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. See you soon for new videos.